Hey everyone, welcome back to Seven Shepherds Farm. Today we are moving this group of yearling ewes into the next paddock. They've only been in here for a few days. It's about 50 acres, 30 acres of woods, 20 acres open. It's kind of on the very back side of the farm, so we haven't like divided it up like we'd like to yet. So anyways, we moved them in here on Thursday. Today's Sunday, so like 3 days. We plan to leave them in here for longer than this, but we said from the beginning that as soon as that first lamb dropped, we were going to get them out of here. And over the weekend, the first lambs have dropped. We typically would not move anything on Sunday. Sunday's kind of like our keep holy the Sabbath day. We go to church, we relax, we spend time with family, but as stewards of God's land, whenever things like this come up, it's safest for the animals to be moving to where we can keep a better eye on them out of this woods. So that's what we're called to do on this Sunday. It shouldn't take too long to get them out of here. They've been following us really well, so we'll just drive this 50-acre paddock and call them out. You guys can kind of follow along with us as we do that today. And then we will also going to go over something that we get asked a lot. Why do we lamb on pasture? So we're going to touch base a little later in the video after we get these sheep moved, and we're going to talk to you, Jake and I will talk to you guys about why we lamb out on pasture and why it's best for our operation, but you'll have to stick around a little later in the video and find out. And then we will also take you through the group that lambed over the winter. You can kind of see those. So some of those older ewes that did not have babies over the winter, they're lambing now too. So we've had a lot of lambs down there with that group. Looking back, we probably would have taken like the dry ewes like about a month ago. We would have taken those dry ewes and we would have moved them in with this group of yearling ewes just so that we wouldn't have baby lambs down there with those older lambs. So that's not ideal. Looking back, that was a mistake, but it's just something that we're gonna have to deal with now because we don't know who hasn't had a lamb, because the ones that are getting ready to lamb are bagging up, and the ones that already have a lamb have a bag, so it's impossible to tell right now who's what. But judging by the amount of lambs we had down there, there's probably only going to be about 50 sheep that lamb in that paddock, so we'll just deal with it and take it as it comes. But like I said, this group of yearling ewes, they were due to start lambing on April 26th, so they're a little early as expected because they are, first time lambers. So we expected that. We expected to have lambs about a week early, and we did. So anyways, we had quite a few over the weekend, and like I said, it's just getting to be too many too fast, and we have got to get them out of this woods so that we can keep a better eye on them. So today we're going to move them into a much more open field, and from that open field we will continue slowly moving them across big open bottom fields and ridges. We have it all planned out to where everywhere they move from here to the next 2 months will be all open. So anyways, follow along with us today and watch us move some of these sheep and come check out some new babies. Okay, so here we are back on the back part of this 50-acre field, our paddock. And like I said, just a lot of deep woods in this place. So again, we have a few new lambs in here, so it's time to get them out. Now, the way we will do this with these new lambs is we will leave the ewes with lambs behind. We will leave them in this paddock because they're just going one paddock over, and they will find their way to the gate, to the opening, and they will be standing there with their lambs bawling later on today. And then we'll open the gate and let them through. But there's no sense in pushing that little lamb or causing mom to lose them. If mom stays here with the baby, we leave her here, and she will make her way on her own time to find these sheep, and we will let her through later. So that's just the way we do it. I think there's only 3 babies in this group, so it's not too many yet. They were all born yesterday. Got my trusty driver here.
May we push them?
All right, as soon as they all start following, we can push them. even though they're not going to need much pushing.
Mommy, this one almost a baby.
Yeah, there's a bunch of them almost going to have a baby, isn't there? Yeah. It usually doesn't take too much convincing to get them to move. Go ahead. Aw, that is a new one. She was born just this morning. And like I said, if they move with us, that's fine, but we're not going to pressure them to move with us. So
Right one. One more right one.
it's fine.
Right one and...
All right, let's grab that dog feeder. We'll pull it with us. Can you back me up to the dog feeder? Whoa, look at this bag. I believe she's gonna have one very soon. All right, buddy, back me up to that dog feeder. Let's hook up. Well, actually, I changed my mind. Let's leave it here. We'll come back and get it because I want to be able to push them. Oh, and sheep. Clap your hands a little. No, sheep. Hey, 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 hey. Oh, sheep. Now watch out, there's some lambs in here. See that little white one over there? All right. Oh, sheep. Hey. Leave him alone. He's with his mom. Go around him. Here.
Hey, Mom.
Yep. Leave the lamb with his mom. She'll make her way slowly. There they go. They've got a long ways to travel. They're in the back of this 50 acres.
Tiny one right here.
There you go. Leave her there. She'll find her way. Just go ahead. All right, that's kind of what we do. Just kind of try to get ahead of them so they're not pressured. They'll make their way on their own. You can see those two ewes with lambs. They're still following us, but they're kind of doing it at their own pace with their babies. Move everything else up ahead of them. this is why we wanted them out of this paddock before they start lambing. It's just a long ways to travel. Now this is the paddock they're going in right here. So, I mean, as soon as we move them through this gate up here, they will be in this paddock, and there is 3 gates that lead to this paddock. So all these ones with babies, as long as we can get them to come up to one of the nearest gates, we will move them through later today. We will also leave one of our dogs, Ruby, in here with them too, so they have some protection until we do get them moved, and then we'll let her out. Okay, so now we're going to talk to you guys about why we lamb out here on the pasture during the springtime versus lambing in the winter in a barn or during the winter on pasture like we accidentally did this year. So,
yep.
I'll let Jake have the mic.
Well, a lot of people do lamb in a barn, and there's definitely some advantages to that. You can kind of increase your lambing percentage. You have more control. You don't have to worry about the environment so much, which is why they can lamb in the winter. Where we're just not set up for that. We don't, for one thing, we don't have a barn that would work for lambing in. So we'd have to spend, probably a couple $100,000 on a barn to lamb these sheep out in, and we're just not willing to do that. And we're also in a part of the country where, so if you lamb in a barn, you got to bring the feed to the animals. So we're in a part where there's only a small percentage of this farm to where you could actually hay and bring it in to the sheep. So the rest of it, if we were going to leave them in the barn, year round basically, we'd have to figure out something to do with the rest of the pasture, because it's too rough. A lot of our pasture is too rough to cut for hay, and then half the farm is in woods. So we also wouldn't get anything out of our woods ground. Where when we're lambing on pasture and we're raising everything out on pasture, they have all the rougher ground. They can go out and basically they harvest the forage for themselves. We don't have to bale it for them. So, and then all the woods ground, obviously, we wouldn't get anything out of that. So a lot of it comes down to where you're located, whether it's worth, lambing in a barn or whether it's worth lambing out on pasture. Where we're at, I think it's better to lamb out on pasture. Like I said, we don't have to bring the forage to them. They go out and get it. So it's a lot less work as far as that's concerned. We don't have to bale all the hay and bring it to them. There is a little more work when you lamb out on pasture, because you got to check them. You got a larger area to check for lambs. You have to move them frequently. You got to keep the dogs with them. There's things, extra work as far as that's in that regard. But like I said, where we're located, I think that's lambing on pasture is the right way for us.
Well, and then to go into cost, so that we are witnessing firsthand with these winter lambs, getting them ready in time for the spring market, to still hit the spring market, you have to put a lot of money into feed to get them fat faster. So
per lamb, we have a lot more stuck into those winter lambs than what we will with these lambs that are coming, because that's another reason we lamb in May. So our grass is peaking out here in late April to May. It's just taking off right now. So we have way more grass than we'll know what to do with just the ewes. So then when you add those lambs in there, and the ewes are, whenever they lamb, they're also at their highest nutritional requirements. So that's why we timed the lambing out to be May 1st. That's why we try to do that, because we have the best grass at that time of year. So, and we'll also have the most mouths eating that grass at this time of year. So, you know, it makes sense to kind of just work with your grass. So wherever your green up time is, that's when I would suggest to lamb. If you're with dry lotting that one group, I mean, we kind of, that's not lambing in a barn, but it's kind of, you know, similar. You got to feed them every day. So it actually, I mean, it's quite a bit of work to feed all these sheep every day too. And here, it does took us a half an hour probably to move these sheep, but it took us a lot longer to feed them all, you know, feed these 700 right here. So, so yeah, the labor, I don't know, depends on which way you want to look at it. I like to move sheep, so that's the other thing. I don't particularly like feeding hay. It just isn't that fun. So I actually enjoy moving the sheep, so that also plays into it. But yeah, as far as cost, I don't think there's any comparison. It's cheaper to graze them. I don't know. Somebody probably has better numbers maybe that I could look at, but that doesn't in a barn. But for where we're at, grazing them is way cheaper in my opinion. So
so that's why we lamb out on pasture, and we'll just go over a quick timeline. So we typically turn our rams in December 1st or sometime in that week. December 1st, the rams get turned in. The rams stay in with the sheep the whole time they're lambing even. So the rams are still in right now. So rams get turned in December 1st. Lambs start dropping around May 1st. And then by July 1st, we will pull the mature rams out. By September, we will be taking the ram lambs that were born in May out, weaning them from their mom, and putting them in a separate paddock and leaving them there until mid-February when they're ready for market. And then the ewe lambs, the first of the year. I mean, anywhere from January 1st to mid-February. It just happened to be mid-February this year because of the weather. Like, we just couldn't get a truck there. But anyways, anytime from the first of the year to mid-February. And then the ewe lambs just stay with their moms until we start breeding them, or if we want to sell any of them, we'll pull them off, you know, in the fall and sell them in the fall too. So that's just kind of our timeline. December 1st, rams get turned out. May 1st, we start lambing. July 1st, we pull the mature rams out. September 1st, we wean ram lambs. So that's just kind of what we do. That's our timing. That's why we do what we do. And
the ewe lambs, we don't even wean those. No. We just let them, the ones we're going to keep, so if we're keeping those as replacement ewes, we just leave them on their mom. So and then the ewe will eventually wean her when she's ready. So,
but the ones we sell them in October, like for other people to breed them to their rams December 1st. So kind of like weaning the ram lambs, we'll wean the ewes that we sell too. So all right, well, that's our timeline. Let's go and check on that older group of ewes, the 2-year-old ewes. Some of them had lambs, so we'll kind of show you. Okay, we're back up here we're up here now with this group lambs being born this spring in this group, because we just put all of the 2-year-olds together, and some of them did not have winter lambs, so they're lambing right now too. So anyways, like I said, not ideal, but just something that we'll work through. Anyways, tomorrow we will move this group to the other side of this big bottom field. We'll show how we take down this creek feeder, put it on the back of the trailer and move it. We'll move these all tomorrow, but for today we're going to call it a day and go hang out with the kids for the rest of the day. So thanks for following along at Seven Shepherds Farm, and we look forward to seeing you a lot this spring. Thanks to everyone who follows along on our channel and likes and subscribes. We really appreciate it, and we love showing you what we do on the farm. Thanks for following along at Seven Shepherds Farm, and we'll see you next time.